Hello there, thanks for tuning in to the Advanced Racing Analysis. The Mugello Grand Prix was pretty entertaining, I have to say. So it was everybody kept saying it was an old school racetrack, but it was very entertaining. And the gravel track made it that much more entertaining because the drivers had to watch out for it. And you could see the plumes of dust flying up whenever they would dip into the gravel. So it was pretty good, it was pretty good. It was dramatic. The red flags made the race pretty entertaining and unpredictable because at the start of the race with the standing start, you'll never know who's going to get a good start and who won't get a good lunch. So that made it pretty good. And this is something also I think Bernie Ecclestone has suggested a while back, that there should be a standing star at every yellow flag, but everybody thought it was too much. But I guess they are doing it for red flags. And it was pretty good. I think it was about 3 restarts, so that was pretty good. And especially between Lewis and Valtteri Bottas, so that worked out pretty good. Eventually, Lewis won out because Valtteri Bottas couldn't quite capitalize on the third restart, but still, he did give it a good try. I don't think Bottas can expect to get any help from the team, even if he has crafted out the single best strategy for himself, which is contrary to what the team says. I don't think the team will let him have it. It would be good if the team follow his strategy because they know that only the 2 drivers on the championship, but they don't want to lose too much side of Max Verstappen. That's the issue. When Lewis was going against Nico Rosberg, it was different because they were a mile ahead of everybody. But right now, Bottas had just clawed back second place from Max Verstappen at the last race, and because Max Verstappen didn't finish. So if not, maybe if he had finished ahead of Valtteri Bottas, Bottas would still be in 3rd place because Bottas was finished 5th and Verstappen couldn't finish higher at the last race. So given that there's a driver looming, a 3rd driver looming in the picture, they cannot afford to let them go at it as they wish. So they cannot afford to let Valtteri Bottas fight Lewis Hamilton. So the team is going to opt to have Lewis Hamilton be the #1 guy. So because they won the championship, and besides, 7th championship, I already said in one of my other videos, 7th championship is, it's a big selling point. So they're going to push for Lewis Hamilton to win, and they're going to keep him on the optimum strategy. Even if Valtteri Bottas has a side strategy that works better for him, they're not going to allow them to fight that much between them. So Bottas, the team will not be your friend. You're just going to have to go there alone on the track and hope you get good pit stops, and that's it. I think that's what he's going to have to expect, to go out there alone and against Lewis, mano mano, use head games, use whatever is in Arsenal, but the team will not be a help to him. So I think this is something he's going to have to realize. One of the red flags, I think they should have brought the cars that were taken out back into the race. They should allow the mechanics to fix the cars and allow the cars back into the race. I think that's what they should have done, and maybe had the car start from the pit lane, so, or even from the grid, because there was too many cars taken out. So there should be a moment where they decide, all right, if we have this number of cars taken out in one go, in one swoop, we should allow them to come back. So maybe if, I don't know, if 10 cars get taken out or 6 cars get taken out in one go, or if we have this many cars taken out in one go, we should allow them to come back. I think it would have made for an even better race if some of the cars were allowed to come back. So that's the only thing I didn't like about it. So I think some of the cars should be allowed to back, especially Max Verstappen was the mix of those cars that were taken out. So that's it's about entertainment. So Max Verstappen was the mix of the cars that were taken out. They should have allowed them to come back, and Max Verstappen would have been the miss. Maybe it would be nice to see him work his way up through the field. It would have been a lot more entertaining. This is where I think someone like Bernie Ecclestone, a benevolent dictator, a supremo, a head honcho, comes into play. So this is somewhere someone like that could just make an executive decision and just lay the hammer down. This is what we're going to do, and that's it. But now we have, it's sort of a bureaucratic system. I mean, it's good and it's bad. So in this case, I think it was bad. So right now, 2 people have taken up Bernie Ecclestone's position, so they can really make decisions just like that. And then the FIA seems to have a lot more power, so they can just swoop in and make just a ex parte decision. So they cannot just make a unilateral decision, so they can't do that. Meanwhile, Bernie Ecclestone, when he was the man, he could do stuff like that. So they should just allow the cars to come back. For Alex Albon, this is a big relief for him because Pierre Gasly won the last race, and that was 2 podiums for Pierre Gasly since he left Red Bull. And Alex Albon hasn't even had a single podium, especially this year. Last year, podiums were not expected because that was his first year and he came in kind of in the middle of the season. But this year, podiums are very much expected. They are very much expecting a podium. Well, it's kind of hard to win, so if he doesn't win, it's okay. But if the team was a lot more competitive, they would expect wins as well. But podiums are very much expected, especially if Max Verstappen wasn't there. So this was a very big relief. So he needed this. So those 3 red flags, he could count it as his angels looking out for him. So that just worked perfectly for him. And he had to share the podium with Lewis Hamilton, the guy who took him out of 2 podiums he could possibly have had, especially even the win. But but he knows the game. He knows that's how it goes. So that's how it's going to work. So and Lewis Hamilton, he's not shy about making his move, especially when he's down. So he's going to go for it, and this is something Alex Albon has to watch out for. George Russell missed out on his single point. He started out in 10th place, and he just had the bad start, and he dropped back to 12th. So that was it. So he was never able to claw back, especially against Sebastian Vettel. So Sebastian Vettel really wanted to get a point, and he's in the Ferrari, so that car will be a lot more stable. It should be a lot more stable. Maybe just it doesn't have the power it just have the power that it should have. So maybe that's why George Russell, especially he also has a lot of experience, especially knowing that there's only a handful of laps left to go. Sebastian Vettel is going to do everything to stay ahead. So he used everything in his bag of tricks to stay ahead of George Russell. And George Russell should have just had the better start, and that's it. But hopefully it'll come. Hopefully he get another chance like this again. But it's kind of tough because he was in this position because so many cars that could score points were out of the race. So unless we get another race with rain or some bizarre situation, it's going to be hard to see him get into a point situation. But we have another race coming that we don't usually go to, so that could help him out. So a few races that we don't usually go to are coming, so that could catch out other teams, and we'll see. So he might still get a point. It would be good, especially for the new bosses at Williams, if he got a point for them. So last year they only has 1 point. If he could score maybe 1 or even 2 or 3 more points, so that would be good for the team. Daniel Ricciardo was amazing. I mean, he did all he could to get a podium, and it almost happened, but that last restart killed him because there was only 10 laps to go, and so pretty much in the Red Bull, Alex Albon could go flat out just like in qualifying. So that was it. So he's fast, but I think if it was a race distance or even just during the race, I don't think Alex Albon would be able to catch him. Or maybe he would catch him, but maybe he wouldn't be able to manage his tires as well. So pretty much, I don't think he would have been able to manage his tires as well. But because there was only a handful of laps to go, and he was on red, so the fastest tire, so he could just go flat out, just race all out completely with no regards to saving his tires, saving his brakes, and saving his engine. So he could just go flat out just for those 10 laps. So just use the engine's full power and everything, so he doesn't have to watch out for anything compared to racing. So that's where the other drivers excel at, like the Max Verstappen, the Lewis Hamiltons, maintaining their cars, looking after their cars, their brakes, their tires. So that's what they excel at. So but if it was in a situation like that where Alex Albon had to watch out for his engine, his tires, I don't think he would have passed Ricciardo. So it helped him out that he didn't have to look out for anything else. But it worked. So so he needed that, and it worked for him. It worked in his favor, and he used that advantage to help himself out.